Hey there, Karen here with Whiskey Sour, who is speaking to me again today after yesterday's breach of contract. You might have noticed that he got chopped off in the video. I don't know what happened in the transfer of that, but it didn't look like that to begin with. But something happened, but then I noticed that it had already been put up on the public record page looking that way too, and so it's like, oh, whatever, okay. But he didn't think whatever. He was like, breach a contract, and then didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. Yes, Karen needs a real animal. I wrote a blog today called Are Your Scribbles Ugly? And I saw an article from this woman in Mexico who she had listened to all these pearls of wisdom that her 4-year-old granddaughter gave her when she was painting. So then she thought, I got to compile some advice based on the advice her granddaughter had given her. So I wanted to share it with you and just some of my thoughts because it's pretty fun. The first one is take some paint, some colors, and with your paintbrush put one color on your paper and put another color on top of it. Mix it and you'll find a new color is coming up. Whenever I took an art class, the teacher would be like really particular about how you mix color. You weren't really allowed to try things. Everything had to be logical. You had to assess the color wheel, and you weren't allowed to mix things unless you understood why you were doing it that way. And I suppose there's some wisdom in that as well. But to me, mixing colors in my life is a brand new thing for me. Music has always been very serious. I used to write tons of, well, actually, I've written all sorts of genres. I've written in country, pop, rock, for various artists and stuff, but actually my own material has always been fairly serious. But my friendships and the way I conduct myself on a daily basis is pretty silly. And I know you don't believe that. But all my relationships have been very silly. And but then my writing, and I don't even just mean for blogs, but just my kind of extracurricular writing has been very philosophical for the most part. And I just realized that the new material that I'm working on for the next STEVER CD is really starting to blend all the areas in a bold kind of way. And I never thought you could blend all these together, and I never wanted silliness or fun really in any of my songs. But really, if we weren't able to blend these things together, Tim Burton movies wouldn't be so popular, you know. So I've always enjoyed the twisted. It's just I've never really had the guts to kind of blend it all together, all the different colors for my life that way. So that's some good advice that this little girl had given her grandmother. Her next piece was, when I don't have anything to do and get bored, I start painting and then I just can't stop. It makes me feel good. It just doesn't get any easier than that. Her next piece of advice was take any piece of string. It doesn't matter what kind. Cut it if it's anything like yarn. Put chalk or paint all over it. Then put your finger at the very top and grab the other end of the little thing that's sticking out and just pull it. And then press it on paper. Then you have the beautiful marking of paint or chalk on your paper. Trying new things can be really scary for us, and we think we have to wait until we have all the material in front of us, or that we've had to accumulate all this material in our life before we can try these new things. And just like small craft pieces around our house, we have things within our own character and within our own spirit that I think we can pull from to create something really new and beautiful. And so I really like that she just took some things that were around and just tried something kind of a little different. Her next thing was take your paintbrush and some paint. Paint whatever you want. Scribbles can be very pretty. That's such a great pearl of wisdom there, is even our scribbles can be pretty. I think we think we have certain talent, but we don't have enough talent to make anything that's art worthy. But if it's honest and it comes from you, that's your scribbles and it represents you. Everything I do is a scribble. Take markers, some friends, and a big piece of paper. Take turns drawing on the paper. Don't fight on whatever somebody draws, including friends. And just being open to what they have to contribute can really surprise us. And if you were one of those kids who worked totally independently as a child, or if you were an only child, you might still find it difficult to integrate what you're doing with what somebody else is doing. And I think it's really cool that we can discover something in our friends if we stay open to that. Go outside and pick some flowers. Press the flower or leaves while dragging them across your piece of paper. A surprise will come out of the flower. It's interesting to me that she saw a use for the flower besides just simply being pretty. And we should really begin to look at people this way. Like just, we look at supermodels or actresses or whatever and just think, oh, they're just breathtakingly beautiful. But, if you never ask them anything about themselves, they might not be able to explore who they are. And I just think that there's so many people I know in my life like this who are not taken seriously because they are beautiful on the outside. And it's something that there's certain people we attack in our lives, and the beautiful people, the Marilyn Manson thing, we tend to attack them, and we never give those people a chance to be anything other than a flower or a magazine cover. And we don't allow these people to express who they are on the inside. And I think if they could start to do that, they might become a little less vain. That's been my experience. And so I sat there and stared at this for a really long time, that a surprise will come out of the flower. And it's just, you're not going to be beautiful forever. You're going to be 100 years old someday, where, if you live that long, where, the flower is going to start to wilt on the outside. And then you have to start asking yourself, well, what else do I have to contribute? And so this is one of my favorites, is a surprise will come out of the flower. I just thought that was so cool. And it's just interesting that she saw a use for a flower besides just simply being pretty. Get some wash-off markers and draw a tattoo on your arm, your legs, your chest, or even your forehead, and don't wash it off. This is a classic case of throwing caution to the wind. And we're taught to make sure we simply stay clean at all times. With a pencil, you can draw a mountain, a dog, a fish, a stream, children going for an Easter egg hunt, or you can draw anything with a pencil. When you're done, put it wherever you want to put it. And all you need is a pencil. Very good advice. Take paint and paintbrush and water, and then take your wet paintbrush and put it in any color and just make little twirly lines with your paintbrush. Put your paintbrush into the water and then into another color and then back into the water. Now your water has color. Now just shake it all over your paper and make little dots, and it won't be water anymore. It'll be paint. If you like the color of your water, just draw with that. Sometimes it looks like a different color on your paper, but it's still pretty. It's just another analogy, like the flower, where she saw another use for the water. It just shows some ingenuity and some attentiveness. Just looking around. She's just looking around and checking stuff out. Find a stick and take it home. And take a piece of paper and a bottle of grown-up ink. Put your stick into the ink bottle and on your paper. Just make funny lines and the ink will come off the stick on the paper. It's pretty hard to make one, but if you can make a face, a heart, or a person drawing with the ink, I'm just giving you an example, she says, but you can make a watermelon or anything else you want to make with ink. You can always scribble. I love that she gave some ideas, but also gave permission to scribble. I think we look at our own art or our own lives, that if we don't have a masterpiece, or we don't have something just, phenomenal, according to society, that it's just not worth doing. I don't think we always have to look at the things that we do as potential sales all the time. There's some things that we can do in our lives that are simply just for the fun of it. And so I think she says you can always scribble. Why not just scribble if you want to? And it's funny how we don't really return to this simple thinking until we grow old. When I look at her advice and apply it to my own life, it seems to be pretty solid. Why don't we go to them, these children, more often instead of paying that $200 an hour? That's a rape to my bank account. Instead of waiting for life to drop off all the materials we think we need, why don't we just realize that life has given us the materials that we need? If we just look around a little bit. This is what children do, and they're so good at it. They just look around. It's like, what's over here? We're so set on kind of what's in front of us, and they're just seeing things around them because their focus hasn't been diverted by ill motivation or stress or depression or all these kinds of things. They just constantly checking things out. It's pretty cool. I signed off today saying we are equipped. I've said that before. I saw Soichiro, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Mr. Honda, Soichiro Honda. He was the founder of the Honda Motor Company. He says, there's a Japanese proverb that literally goes, raise the sail with your stronger hand. And what he means by that is you must go after opportunities that arise in your life that you're best equipped to do. He was the founder of the Honda Motor Company, but he also liked to hang glide. He liked to go ballooning. I think he was like 77 years old when he would go ballooning. He liked to ski, and he was a very accomplished artist. So it's just neat that he kind of just said, you have to go after the opportunities that arise in your life that you're best equipped to do. Instead of just chasing what society thinks we should be doing. Just do the things that are within your means, within your grasp, and that you think you're good at. And like a child, just do it because you love it. So I just thought that this little girl's advice, I'm glad that, I mean, I don't know how it came out of her mouth, but the grandmother obviously put it into something that was a little more legible. And I really enjoyed it because I love going to children. And whenever I sat with my nieces and nephews, I have one nephew in particular who, even at the age of, 2, 3, 4 years old, would come sit up at the table, and he'd, like a little farmer, he'd stick his elbow up on the table and chat with everybody. And I got more pearls of wisdom from that kid than most people in my life. So it really makes me want to return to childhood in that spirit of play. So I thought I'd share that with you guys today. But I will check in with you tomorrow, and I hope that everything's going well on your holidays and that things in your life is going well. Okay, if your scribbles are ugly, who cares? All right, so I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. From Whiskey Sour and me, rock on.